Hi, this is Maya with IvySource Creative Consulting, and I'm going to show you an introductory tutorial for how to use the IvySource Creative Consulting client editing system. It's a really easy to use, intuitive drag and drop system. So I've made kind of a mock-up site here, which we're going to play around with, called A to Z Produce. And let's just start at the top with the very first things you see at the top of the page. These 4 or 5 tabs: the Build, Design, Pages, Store, and Settings tab. So in the IvySource Creative Consulting editing system, there are 2 ways to make changes. You can add things from the Build side. You can change the theme, fonts, and background from the Design tab. And you can add pages and change the page layout from the Pages tab. And then other settings that might be important to us later, like involving SEO, are in the Settings tab, but we're not going to worry about that now. So let's start with the Pages tab. So I've made 4 pages. I'm going to add another page. So I'm going to just click Add Standard Page. I could also add an external link, which would just go to a whole other link that I enter if I wanted to do it that way. But I'm just going to add a standard page, and I'm going to call it Join Our Mailing List. And I'm going to move this page so that it's before Contact Us. I could also have it as a subpage under About Us. And what that would look like, if I click Save and Edit, then under About Us we would have Join Our Mailing List. So I'm going to go back to Pages now and put that as one of the main pages. And I can change the page layout here. I can also hide the page in navigation, and then this little I with an X shows up. And I might do that if I want to link it, but I don't want people to be able to click it from the navigation menu directly. So let's go back to the home page. And you can see that I have it set to landing page, but there are a couple of options, and we'll explore those options back on the main page itself. So on this landing page, we have a headline, a subheadline, and a button, which I have set to link to our products. So if you want to change how a button links, you hover over it, click on it lightly, and you can click on link, and then you can change whether it links to one of the pages on the site itself. You can have it go to a website URL. You can choose whether to open the link in a new window or the same window. You can have it open a file, upload a file. You can have it link to an email address. So I'm going to go back and have it link to the Our Products page. And we could also change the layout of the page by clicking on this little settings wheel here, and we could make it a splash page, which is really going to change the look a lot. I don't really want that would be like the whole picture as the background. I don't like that as much. We could have a tall header where there's no words. We could have a no header, a short header, but landing page is usually the best choice for the home page of a site. So we're going to stick with the landing page. And the next thing I want to show you is kind of how you can make changes in the Design tab to the look. So you can click on Change Fonts, and you can see in the header area, you can change the site title, which is highlighted, the navigation menu, headline, subheadline. If you scroll down to buttons, you can change the general look of the buttons. You can change the look of links, paragraph titles, paragraph text. Whenever you make a change in the design area, it makes that change to the entire page. So let me give you an example. So here I have a paragraph title from the Oyster Plate Delicious. So I'm going to change the paragraph title from default font to Droid Sans. You can see that changes, and it should also change all the other paragraph headings. So the About Us over here has now changed The contact us has now changed, so that's been a global change. And then we can go change the size. It will change the size as well. We can change the color here. We can choose from this color palette, or we can have more of a range of colors by clicking that arrow. If these colors don't show up right away, what usually works is to highlight, and you see you have a couple of options here, and click Remove Formatting TX, and that should put it to whatever is the setting from the Design tab. So these buttons up here are how you might do local changes. So let's say I just want the word Earth to be really big. So I would do that here, but I wouldn't do that from the design settings. Or I want Earth to be bold, or I want it to be a different color. I want it to be red for some reason. Or I want to add a link to the word Earth. I would click Create Link, and I could, once again, link to a website URL. I could link to an email address, a file, anything like that. So let me click on Remove Formatting here. And you can also click Undo or Redo. So these are the easy ways to kind of make changes to your font size and presentation in just one location. But if you don't, if you want something that applies to all locations, you change the settings in the Design tab. So we're going to go back. We can also click Reset and go back to the settings it was before. So there are different font change options in the Design tab for each of the different styles of things you're working with. So paragraph titles, paragraph text, links, you can change the color of the link color, the hover color. The buttons you can change the size of. Sometimes you can change the color. In this case, we're not going to be able to change the color. Okay, so that's kind of how to make simple changes to the color, size, weight, and font. And when you want to actually, change the text itself, let's say I want to change the word fruit to produce. We just click and type it in, and you can make any of these text changes. So the next idea I kind of want to introduce is the idea of blocks and building blocks. So the way the client editing system works is that on the main pages, the content of the pages are in blocks. So you can see this kind of blue outline that's happening around the title. If we want to move it, we can hover over this little rectangle here and drag it. And we have a lot of dragging options. So where there's a line, that means it's going to be over that whole area. We could drag it to the side of the text, and then that block would move over. We could change the size of this block by dragging this line, and if you hold the Shift button, it disables snapping, so you can have a little more degree of freedom. So let's say I want it to look like this instead of having the title over top. This block here is a gallery block. So the way to make a gallery is from the left side. You can see there's a gallery block. You click and drag it over, drag any of the elements you want to use over, and then you would click Upload Images. We're going to go over here and just grab some images that I just got from online, and those images are going to upload. We'll give it a minute. So while that's uploading, some of the other options with these blocks you can delete by clicking the red X in the upper right corner. If you click on the arrow in the upper left corner, you can either move something to another page or copy it to another page, and then that makes it really easy if you're going to have doubles of stuff, which is nice. Alright. Its upload is taking a little bit of time. Okay, so our upload is finally finishing, and these 3 photos pop up. So I'm gonna click here and to show you some of your options with the gallery. So you can change the columns to 2, which makes the photos larger. You could have up to 6 columns worth of photos. We're gonna stick with the 3 here. You can make changes to the spacing. You can add captions. You can have the captions display upon hover. You can have them pop up. So let's have display on hover. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to write a caption by clicking on the add caption speech bubble and say, "Yum delicious," and save. And now that will hover and pop up. We could also have a caption that's just always displayed. We could have a full overlay. We don't have to have the lightbox. We could just have that happen lightbox only. And then there are other advanced settings like how the cropping is done. You can have squares, rectangles. You can have no cropping, which doesn't usually look as good because the sizes of the photographs might be very different. We're going to stick with a rectangle cropping. And if you want to add more images, you would just click the blue add images and drag or upload more photos there. So gallery is a great way to show photos when you have several photos, but you can also have other ways to show photos. You can have a single image. So you would drag this image element, and I'm going to click here, drag a photo to upload some tomatoes. So these tomatoes should upload in a second. So this image is really, really large. So there are a couple of ways to resize an image. So you can click on this little blue box here to resize this image. That's one way. You could also add what's called a spacer. So this spacer is just space between blocks. So you can add a spacer, let's say, to the left of the tomatoes, so that it only occupies this corner here. And then we might add more text by dragging over here and fill up some of that white space or whatever. Another way to add photos is we could have a slideshow. So we can drag the slideshow element. We can drag it to the side. We can drag underneath so that it would be under that text. We could have it up here so that it's across the whole space, or on the bottom, across the whole space, on the side, So you can see you basically can insert the blocks around each other. They're kind of movable blocks within the content area. So let's just add it to the bottom. We have a couple of options for the slideshow look. Let's just do the simple slideshow. And I'm going to drag a handful of photos here. And while this is uploading, one important thing is that every change you make when you're editing using the client editing system is automatically saved. So if you have to quit or close the page or something, all of your changes are saved without you having to do anything. So the upload is finally coming through, and the pictures will start to show up here. And once they do, you can hover, click, and drag to reorder the photos. Once again, you can add a caption. You can also add a link. Same deal as adding links and other parts of the editing system. Okay, so our photos have uploaded now, and we can click save, or we could add photos. We're going to click save, and actually first let's just add some captions so we can show what that looks like when it's in the slideshow. So we'll click Save Now. And we have this slideshow where it'll automatically scroll through photos. If those photos have captions, and they'll show up like this upon hover. And if you click, you can add edit, you can change the transition style. There's a bunch of different options for the aspect ratios, the controls, where the starting position is, whether you want it on autoplay, how fast it goes along, navigating whether you want thumbnails or not on the bottom like that, or none, or numbers, or where the navigation location is on the top. So there are a lot of options for your slideshow. So that's another really nice way to display images. And you can resize this slideshow size depending on where you put it. So if you move the whole slideshow, let's say over here, now it's only the width of this column. So you can move the column. We want this image bigger and the slideshow smaller. We want it more like this. We could do all kinds of changes. We could move this piece of text down here underneath. We can get rid of the spacer. We don't need it anymore. Just by moving blocks around, you can change a lot of how the sizing looks. Let's finish up with just a couple more tips. So the title can be either text, you can turn it off, or you can have a logo. So in order to upload a logo here, let's just use this organic label. So now this shows up. Maybe it's too small or we want to move it, so we'll hover and click on the edit button. And now you have options to crop it. You can do some effects. You can rotate it if you're having problems. You can add text over top. Let's just resize it, make it a little bit larger, and maybe I want it over in the corner instead of in the middle, and then click Save. And now we have this kind of look. We could get rid of the logo entirely by clicking Trash, or click back to text and go back to A to Z Produce like that. And a couple more final tips. So let's go over to the Contact Us page. So here I've embedded a map, and what I've done is use this embed code, and I dragged it over here, and then it asked me to click to set custom HTML. So in another site, I had an embed code that I copied for this map, and now I went over here, I clicked, pasted, and now you see there's a lot of text that's coded here, and we can center it or not. We can edit the code. Well, let's just leave it to the side here, and once we click out, it'll take a second to load. And let's delete the old one and move this new map over to the side. So now it's loaded up. You can see that map is working fine, and so you can embed almost any kind of HTML. You can embed PayPal buttons, maps, widgets from other sites, music playing sites, almost anything you can think of. So this is a really useful option. And you can also embed YouTube videos. So you would just drag the YouTube element over here, and then click to add your URL. Let's say YouTube Sesame Street, and grab this link and put it in right here. Now we can size it any way we want, HD, extra large, small, auto, and do any spacing we want, and you can see that the YouTube video shows up here, plays embeddably in the site. Once again, if you want to mess around with the spacing, you can move it to the bottom So now it's really large. You could go add that spacer element to resize it a little bit so that it's only partially wide. So lots of options. And finally, down on the bottom we have the footer. So you click to edit the footer, and the footer is a little bit different than the rest of the text. So when you're on the design tab, you can't change the paragraph text in the footer. You have to go down to the footer section and change the paragraph text there. So if we change it from Open Sans to Cantarell, now it'll change. You can see that happening. We can change the color here, and then click, and that formatting would go through. We can change the alignment. We could make this bulleted list for whatever reason we want to. So we can make all of these changes and then click Save Footer. And finally, if you don't really like the look and the layout of the website, you have options by changing the color design options up here. So making everything green theme, that will change the background. Red theme, that would make the links show up in red. So if we click here and we link an email address, let's say a@a2zproduce.org, then the link is now going to show up red because that's a theme we chose. If we change the theme to purple, we're going to end up with a purple link, and so on. We can also change the themes completely by clicking Change Theme, and we have all of these different theme options. And you can scroll through, find ones that you like the look of. Maybe if you're not sure what you like, you can try out some of the colors by clicking these color options. You can click Preview to see how you like the look. You can choose it, or you can click Cancel if it's not working for you. So you really have a lot of flexibility. And if you anticipate wanting to continue to make a lot of changes to your website, I definitely recommend signing up to keep on having access to the IvySource client editing system, because it's a really great tool. The cost is $14.95 a month, and you can click in the link below to sign up for that. It also comes with some additional elements you can use, like the search box, audio, HD video, these things with stars, the contact form and map, and it does have an option to upgrade if you want to integrate more of a storefront. If this whole process seems a little bit difficult for you and you want a chance to walk through it with me, I offer an in-person lesson using a screen share and Skype, and we can go over exactly what you're getting stuck on. That consultation for 1 hour costs $30, but it can be really helpful for you if you're confused and getting stuck. But I hope that this tutorial has answered a couple of your basic questions about how to use the client editing system. And please contact me at maya@ivysourceconsulting.com, or give me a call at 360-525-3944 if you run into any more problems. Thanks so much.